If you're scheduling first dates on Friday nights, you're doing it all wrong. Here's why that move screams low value and what to do instead.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's all true. Yeah, I know. Erkin says, live, not recorded. Skip the knee operation. I know on Monday I said we were going to be live, or we were going to be pre-recorded. Well, that's until the incompetent people at the surgical center in the Grand Valley Surgical Center in Grand Junction, they can't get their poop in a group, and they can't schedule you until 2 days out. And that's when I called them on Monday. They're like, oh, your operation's not until 3 p.m. I was like, are you for real? And then they're like, oh, by the way, you can't eat past midnight. And, and I'm like, so I got to wait midnight all the way until 3 p.m. Are you guys for real right now? And then the lady calls me yesterday, and she's like, oh, hey, I'm calling to let you know what time to come in tomorrow. And I'm like, I talked to you guys on Monday, but you're telling me that if I didn't call you guys, I wouldn't know about my surgery until the day before? That's unacceptable. Anyway, the reason why I'm late is because I'm writing a scathing email to the CEO of Intermountain Health, because I'm just like, this is crap, dude. You guys booked me a week out to be there on Wednesday, and you can't pick a time a week out? That's ridiculous. And so yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad about that. I'm not gonna be able to eat all day, so I'm already grumpy about it. I'm already grumpy. All right, guys, listen, you guys didn't tune in to hear me piss and moan about the medical industry out here in the Western Slope. My name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, did you know that so many guys go into first dates thinking, let's just see what happens? But without a plan, you're setting yourself up for failure. You lose frame, you come off as unsure of yourself, and worst of all, she walks away thinking you're just like every other guy, just like 97% of the other losers out there. Well, today I'm breaking down the first date formula that separates men women want to bang from the rest. It's strategic, it's repeatable, and it's deadly effective, baby. If you know what I'm talking about, drop that too sweet in the chat. But first, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail, with or without surgery scheduled. And we are live, so please sound off in the live chat today. I'd love to hear from you guys, okay? And when you guys ask questions, consider sending that as a super chat, and I can bring it up on the screen, and you guys could be a part of the show. Let's talk about the root of first date failures. Okay. Now, how many of you guys either are frustrated with the dating process right now because of the modern women, or it's just, dating's a grind for you and you're just really frustrated by it. And a lot of first dates don't pan out and you're ready to give up, right? Drop a 1 in the chat if that's you. Okay. But here's the thing, like most men don't have a plan. They just wing it and they treat dates like it's a job interview or it's high pressure dinners, right? They're grilling women with questions, or they allow women to grill them with questions, and it stops being a fun-filled activity where segs can happen, and it starts being a job interview. How many times have you been on a date where it's devolved into a job interview? Drop a 1 in the chat. Most guys are out there trying to qualify themselves to women, trying to make women like them, trying to tell women why they're so awesome And hey, you need to pick me because I do all this cool stuff. Look at me. You know, I have a really good job. I'm taking you to a fancy dinner. Look at how fancy this dinner is. I brought you flowers. A lot of guys are doing that kind of stuff. Or worse, they're talking too much about themselves and giving too much about themselves away. How many of you guys do that? See, I definitely had that problem because I run my mouth. You think I have a podcast without running my mouth? Are you serious? Okay. Anyway, but that was my problem. I talk too much. I give too much away. I like to tell too much about myself, too many stories about myself. And one thing that really helped me with that is by just having the mental model that women don't care. Like, women don't care about me. They don't care about my life, my backstory. They do. Okay, don't get me wrong. They do, but they love talking about themselves more. So the more I kept it in my head with the idea of she doesn't care. Don't tell her that. She doesn't care. I stopped giving so much of myself away. And the thing is, when you don't give too much of yourself away, they want to dig it out of you. And the more they have to pull it out of you, the more invested they get. Okay, we'll get into all that kind of stuff. A lack of a go-to venue creates decision fatigue and shows indecisiveness. Most guys that suck with dating have no idea what they want to do for a first date, and they leave it up to the girl and they go, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you like doing for fun? What would you maybe consider thinking possibly going out with me sometime? Okay, well, what should we do? And then guys are doing that thinking that because men are like very linear thinking, right? So they're like, if A equals B, then C, right? So or if A plus B equals C, then if I make her happy by doing what she wants to do, then she'll like me more. But that's not how women operate, especially when it comes to dates. They want men to set the tone and lead. They want men to make the plans. And so they don't like being asked, what do you want to do? Where do we go? Where do you want to go? Where should we meet up? Right? They'll often throw that back in your lap, right? Because that's what most guys are doing out there, trying to make these women happy, and that doesn't make them happy. So what I recommend is stop doing that crap, right? Have a go-to place, a place where you take all your first dates to. That way, all you have to do is ask her, hey, when are you free to get together? When she tells you, oh, I'm free on, Thursday and Friday night. Great. Meet me at the Feisty Pint Thursday, 7 p.m. Okay. And it's easy. You don't have to think about it. You say the same place all the time. And she's excited that you have a plan in mind, and you're going to get more yeses when you do that sort of thing. But the best thing about it, and we'll get into it, is having a go-to place. You're familiar with everybody. You're familiar with the layout. You know how it's going to go. And the more you do this, the more you build up that muscle memory. And you've done this first date a million times. It's not a first date for you anymore, right? She's the only one that's been on this first date. Why framing meet me at 7 p.m. at X projects confidence versus what do you want to do? Okay. The reason why we want to do this and say, meet me at such and such place at 7 p.m. is you have a plan in mind. Okay. But you're also not asking her what she wants to do, or asking her if she wants to meet up with you, or if she wants to go out with you. You're telling her, great. Oh, you're free Thursday night? Great. Meet me at the Feisty Pint, 7 p.m. You're telling her what to do. It's a part of the 3 T's: tease, touch, and tell. It's bold, it's confident, and women, they like being told what to do by a guy that they're interested in. And she wouldn't have swiped on you if she wasn't at least somewhat interested in you in the first place, right? Or if you met her in the supermarket, she wouldn't have sat there and talked with you if she wasn't at least somewhat interested in you in the first place. Okay. So you don't be afraid to tell her what to do. She's going to like it. Every once in a while, you might get a little pushback, and it's usually in the form of a shit test, right? It'll be like, oh, you're so bossy. right? I used to get that every once in a while. Girls would be like, "Oh, you're really bossy," and I'd be like, "Yeah, but you like it." That's how I'd handle that sort of thing. Drinks only dates, they remove pressure and allow for better conversation dynamics. Why is that? Well, one, you're not worried about her ordering the lobster dinner and taking advantage of you. If you don't like her, because that's what you need to develop that mindset of do I like her or not? Instead of trying to qualify and make her like you need to go into every date going, do I even like this girl? Okay. Well, if it's drinks only, it's relatively low cost and it could be over after one drink. Like if she's checking her phone the whole time and just you have to drag a conversation out of her and she's not that interested, don't stick around. Just be like, well, I gotta turn in early tonight. I got an early day tomorrow. Nice meeting you. Best of luck in your dating. And then you pay for the drinks and get the hell out and bounce, right? Very low pressure. Very low pressure. It's also low investment money-wise, and these dates add up. And a vast majority of your first dates aren't going to pan out. That's just the nature of the beast. A lot of guys get discouraged. They go one or two dates that don't pan out. And they're like, F this dating thing. This is bullshit. But they're the ones that are constantly trying to qualify themselves to these girls too. So stop doing that. They need to qualify themselves to you. And once you change that dynamic, you'll find that these when you stop giving too much away, you let them do most of the talking. You ask them the questions. Who's ever asking all the questions is in control of the conversation. So if she's asking you all the questions, you got to flip that. I went on a date with Marine Corps chick. If you guys go back in the archives, at the very beginning of the podcast, I was dating this gal, Marine Corps chick, and I didn't date her very long. She just wasn't the right person for me. Good gal though. But on the first date, we met up, and man, she just went in hard on the questions. Right? She just went in hard on the questions, like out the gate. And I just said, whoa. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of questions. Let me get one in. And that's how I flipped it around. And then after that, I was the one asking the questions. And then whenever she asked me a question, I would keep it short and vague and playful and then flip it around on her immediately. Okay. You want to be the one asking the questions, not the other way around. And we'll get into it, but you don't want to ask yes or no type questions. Because if you only ask yes or no type questions, you're going to get yes or no type answers, and you're going to have to drag conversation out of them. Okay, you want to get that ball rolling, get them talking long-windedly by asking them open-ended questions. Now, here's the thing. When you're doing dates this way, where you have a go-to venue and you always go to the same place every time, it's always drinks, and you're running the same playbook, it's the psychology of repetition, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. There's a reason why my Red Pill guide series they're very repetitive. A lot of guys are like, man, your books are repetitive. Like, yeah, it's because that's going to stick in your mind. Repetition is the mother of skill. Just constantly reinforcing the same ideas over and over again sticks in your subconscious better, right? Well, the same thing happens on dates. It's like being in the military and running drills. Okay. In the moment, in the heat of the moment, you are going to default to your training. Okay. Well, this is your training. So if you go to the same place every time, you run the same playbook on the same girls, you talk about the same stuff every time, you're going to be able to do it without even thinking about it. And you're going to have way more success on the dating circuit because you've done it a bunch of times. Like dating, like anything else, is skill-based. And if you're having no luck on the dating circuit, you need to work on those skills. Cool. All right, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. Get my free ebook. Fine. Here's how to get her back. A lot of you guys out here are out in the dating circuit, and you need to move on, but it's such a grind out there. And I hate these first dates. And like, if I have to ask a girl what her favorite color is again for the 90th time, or if a girl asks me what my favorite color, I just want to blow my brains out. Right. Well, so then you guys start looking at your ex like the low hanging fruit. It might be, you know what? I know that relationship sucked. I know it's probably going to end the same, but at least I'm familiar with her. And so you want to get your ex back. Okay, fine. Here's how to get her back. The link's in the description. But by the time you're done reading that ebook, you're going to realize that's a terrible idea. Absolute terrible idea. And guys, if you did not know, my new book, Forget That Bitch, it's now available on Amazon and Audible. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can find all my books. That'll redirect you to my Amazon authors page. Audible is having a sale right now. So if you want to grab that book for the cheap, do a search on Audible and grab it. Okay. Or, if you have an Audible subscription, just use your next credit on it. It's all good. It's all good, baby. But did you know that most guys think the key to getting better with women is learning a few lines or a few tricks? But the truth is, until you let go of the one who broke you, you'll keep repeating the same cycle with different women. Right. And those tips and tricks will only make you a geek with techniques, and it will do nothing to help you in a long-term relationship. But maybe you're still hung up on your ex. Maybe you can't stop stalking her IG or wondering if she'll come back. But here's the brutal truth. She's not coming back. And even if she does, it won't be the fairy tale reunion you've fantasized about. You can't build high-level game when you're still bleeding from the last heartbreak. That's why I wrote Forget That Bitch. It's a punch you in the gut, no bullshit guide to emotionally detaching from the woman who absolutely wrecked you. And it shows you how to reclaim your frame, rebuild your identity, and get your swagger back. So that developing game isn't about overcompensating. It's about becoming undeniable. Grab it on Amazon or Audible today. The link's in the description, or go to books.comeonmanpod.com to grab it from my authors page. Let's talk about why most guys get dating wrong and how it destroys, or what most guys get wrong and how it destroys their frame, okay? A big concept that I talk about in this book, and I also talk about it in Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, but you have to look at Friday and Saturday nights like they're prime date nights, okay? Why is this important? It's important because from a psychological perspective, women know that happening guys that have choice with women probably already have plans on Friday or Saturday night. Those are prime date nights. Okay. So if you're just meeting a woman, whether it's, at the supermarket, whether it's at the coffee shop, whether it's, on the dating apps or using Facebook game, however you're sourcing your women, social circles. If you ask her out and it's a first date and you're just getting to know her and you tell her, hey, meet me Friday night or meet me Saturday night, you're essentially sub-communicating that you have nothing better going on a Friday or Saturday night. And that tells her either consciously or subconsciously that you don't have any other options. You're a boring guy that doesn't go out on Friday or Saturday nights. You're probably not the happening guy I want to get with. Yeah. So if you're the kind of guy who's who's always trying to schedule those date nights and then you get flaked on a lot, it's because that woman knows that you don't have anything better going on, and these other options are probably better, right? And she's probably going to be going out with guys that are more interesting than you, So I highly recommend that you don't do Friday or Saturday date nights unless it's with women that you're already sleeping with. Like, they have to earn that. You have to have the mindset that she has to earn a prime date night with me. Okay. Until then, it's drinks only, low investment stuff. You know what I mean? It's low investment stuff until she's earned it. And if you, and there's also, I don't talk about it too much in Forget That Bitch, but I talk about it a lot in Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. You got to have a 3-date rule. You got to have a 3-date rule. What's a 3-date rule? It's women will sleep with a guy that they're interested in by the 2nd or 3rd date on average. That's a fact. That's a fact. So if you have taken a girl out on 3 dates and she's still not willing to go back to your place or invite you back to her place, you're wasting your time, and she's using you for, free dinners and fucking whatever. She's absolutely wasting your time. But Paul, what if she's a good girl? Isn't that what good girls do? Good girls make you wait until you're in a relationship with them. No, they don't. They don't. They don't. The same girl that's making you wait until you're in a relationship with her is banging a guy with a throat tattoo in a Waffle House parking lot on the first date. Or she's skipping the first date and just going right over his house and banging him. Brother Omega Hashira from the Wolfpack, he had a girl like that the other night. Man's a total player. She just skipped the first date, just went right over to his house, romp in the sack. And that same woman is probably going to make some sap wait 3 months to a year before she's willing to think about having sex with him. That's because women don't get to know, women get to know men they want to fuck. They don't fuck men they get to know. That's just not how women operate. She's either sexually interested in you out the gate or she's not. And so you give them a 3 days so that, because you got to give them, there's this idea, right, that women have this, they need plausible deniability. They need to feel like they're not being slooty sleuths. That's why they wait 3 dates as is, right? So I'm like, hey, give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to go out on low investment dates until they put out. Well, for 3 anyway. But if they're not willing to put out by the 3rd date, it's just not working out. Okay. You're just not the right guy for them. No problem. She's not the right girl for you either, because she's not putting out, right? But Paul, I'm a Christian. I wait until I'm married. Man, that's a losing strategy. Okay, just know that Jesus is pretty big about forgiveness. Okay, just ask for forgiveness at the end. You'll be all right. Paul, that's not how it works. No. Yeah, it is. I read the Cliff's Notes. Anyway, you got to understand the power of scarcity too, right? That means, think about it like this before we go into all this kind of stuff, right? Why is gold so valuable? Because it's a scarce resource. Why is oil cost so much? Because it's a scarce resource. Why are diamonds so expensive? Because they're a perceived scarce resource, even though they're quite abundant. But the De Beers Corporation keeps them under lock and key to have perceived scarcity. You probably didn't know that. Anyway, water, on the other hand, even though we need it for our survival, is absolutely abundant. And that's why you can get it for really cheap, right? In fact, if you wanted to haul your own water, you could go to the local river and grab buckets of it and just boil it or whatever, and you'll have free water. It's free, right? But it's cheap because it's widely available. It's super easy to get. One of the things I learned from the late, great Alan Roger Curry is that women look at men who give their time and attention away too easily the same way men look at women who give sex away too easily. Right? Like, if a girl is an absolute slooty salute, a lot of guys will judge her for that and think that she's not wifey material, right? And so they look at these women like they're easy, cheap skanks, even though that's not necessarily true, but whatever. They look at you the same way. If you're always available, if you're at their beck and call, if you're texting them all the time and calling them all the time and spending 2 hours on the phone with them, just laughing and giggling, and you're laying on your bed and you're kicking your feet around and stuff like that, like a teenage girl, they look at you like you're a trick. Okay. So you gotta introduce some scarcity. Now, if you're spinning plates, once you finally get into a rhythm where you're spinning plates, you're dating multiple girls, this becomes way easier because it's more natural. You're already a scarce resource at this point. You're going out with multiple girls. You don't have time to go out with Becky on Thursday because you already got plans on Thursday. You know what I mean? So you got to be, until you build up that rotation, you got to artificially create that scarcity, right? You got to not be available all the time. You got to not text all the time, right? That's another thing, going back to Friday and Saturday nights. I tell guys, no texting or phone calls on Friday or Saturday nights after 6 p.m. Okay. Even if she has nothing better to do, because she's a loser herself, right? If she texts you at it's 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever, and it's Friday or Saturday night and you're hard up and you've been, oh man, and she asks you to come over on Friday, no, you're busy. You've got to be a scarce resource so that you have higher perceived value. I'm telling you guys how to get women obsessed with you. Okay. But a lot of you guys are like, oh, but I'm so horny though. Like, what if she invites me over on Friday night and I just want to bang her out? Like, all right. But she's going to be a plate that falls off eventually. And if you don't care about that, if she is just a plate to you, like whatever. But I'll tell you what, like if you're already banging her, like it's okay to go out with her on Friday or Saturday night, right? You know what I mean? But if you haven't banged this chick yet, no texting or phone calls on Friday or Saturday night. And if you until you do have a rotation of women, I still recommend you don't do it. Okay. Can't be available all the time. Like if she's asked you to, hey, come over tonight, you're busy. Okay. If she doesn't, you schedule things in advance because you're a busy guy. Okay. You have to have that perceived value. Oh. Don't be afraid to not go out with a woman, even if you have no other options. Okay. If you break your own rules, you signal low value. Okay. If you make this one exception for this one girl, she sees that. She sees that you're breaking your own rules for her. It's not going to make her think highly of you. She's going to go, oh, I can manipulate this guy. That's how women operate. Okay. So these rules are here for you to follow, for you to have that discipline to increase your perceived value. I also recommend having a second venue in mind, right? So you always go to the same place on a first date, but you always have a second venue in mind if things are going well, right? If things aren't going well and you don't like this girl, like end the date after one drinking and cut your losses, okay? But if things are going well and your bantering's going great and she's laughing at all your dumb jokes and she's trying to touch you and flirt with you and all this kind of stuff, take her to a second venue. Okay. Someplace just down the street, maybe someplace that has a pool or darts, something fun that's separate from what you're already doing. Okay. Because this will give you a 2 dates in one experience. And what did I say before? Women will sleep with a man by the second or third date on average. So if you take her to a second place, psychologically, she feels like she's already been on 2 dates with you. It's a second location. It feels different, right? Nurse chick will die on this hill that she didn't sleep with me until the second date because it was the second venue, which was my house. But we met up for coffee, and then we went our separate ways because she was supposed to go to work, and then I was going to go home to watch WrestleMania, and she got low census. So now all of a sudden she didn't have anything else to do. It wasn't a Friday or Saturday night. It was a Sunday. And so when she called me asking, hey, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, oh, I'm getting ready to watch WrestleMania. She's like, well, I got low census. So, I was just wondering if you want to hang out or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm watching WrestleMania. You're welcome to join me. I wasn't leaving my house at that point. Like, fuck no. I think John Cena was fighting for the championship or some shit. Anyway, so I said, well, you're welcome to join me. She drove an hour to my house to come watch WrestleMania with me. I was like, it's on. It's on. All I have to do is not stick my foot in my mouth and everything is going to work out great, because a woman doesn't drive 2 hours round trip to watch WrestleMania. Women don't do that, but they will drive to a guy's house hoping to get some, right? Anyway, let me tell you a story. And then before I tell you the story, when you go to that second venue, if you do stuff like darts and pool, it allows to spark that playful competition, but it also gives you excuses to touch each other when you say, hey, let's play distraction pool or let's play distraction darts, right? Because when you give a woman a permission to distract you any way she wants, now she's going to touch you however she wants. And that allowing her to break that touch barrier gives her an excuse. It gives her a plausible deniability. It's magic. Try it out. All right, now let me tell you a story. It's about a guy named Jason. Jason used to think Friday night was the night for dating. After all, what screams romance more than end of week energy, right? That's what he told himself every time he texted, hey, you free Friday night? Hoping to set something up. Week after week, he'd dress sharp, spend an hour grooming, spray that cologne he thought women loved, and pick a trendy restaurant. He was all in. Friday after Friday, date after date. But something kept happening. They flaked. Not all the time, but often enough that it stung. Sometimes they'd cancel an hour before. Sometimes they'd go out with him, smile, chat, and then vanish. Ghosted. These Fridays, or 3 Fridays in a row, this happened. The last straw was a girl named Rachel. Bitch. Anyway, the last straw was the girl named Rachel. They had what Jason thought was a great evening. Laughs, a little flirting, even a hug, goodbye. Whew. He texted her the next day. Had fun last night. Want to do it again? Nothing. Ever again. That night, Jason sat on his couch, drink in hand, TV glowing in the background, but he wasn't watching. He was thinking, why does this keep happening? He scrolled Instagram. The same women who ghosted him were out on Saturday nights, dressed up, smiling, tagging guys who definitely weren't him. That's when it hit him. He wasn't the prize. He was the audition. He was an option. And worse, he was scheduling auditions during prime time. That night, something shifted. Jason went into tactical mode. He found a quiet bar with a chill vibe and good drinks. He made it his spot. He memorized the menu, befriended the bartender, figured out which table had the best ambiance. And then he tested a new approach. When are you free to get together? If the woman gave him a day other than Friday or Saturday, he'd say, great, meet me at the Leaping Lizard at 7 p.m. Wednesday. Not, what do you want to do? Not, let me know what works for you. No, it was, here's the plan. Are you in? And guess what? Women showed up. More relaxed, less pressure, better conversation, and something surprising started happening. He started noticing who wasn't a good fit. That's when the light bulb turned on. Jason stopped chasing and started screening. Fast forward 3 months, Jason meets Vanessa, same bar, same formula, drinks, laughter, second venue, flirty pool game, chemistry. They start dating, slow, intentional, and now they've been together a year. Solid, grounded, fun, no more ghosting, no more auditions, because Jason became the man with the plan. He used to fill his Friday nights with hope. Now he saves them for someone who's already earned them. While you ponder that, guys, get in the Wolfpack. Get in the Wolfpack. We have our hangout tomorrow. Our monthly hangout is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Get in there now. It's a 7-day free trial. Show up. If you like it, stay in the group. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul, okay? But the real value is in the Telegram community with the guys swapping notes. So let me ask you, who wants to run with the Wolves, baby?
Beer club? Not anymore.
Home, midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. no soft stuff, telegram lit, 24/7. Brothers locked in, steel not ever. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
All right. Yes, definitely getting the Wolfpack, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. If you guys want to work with me directly, book a call, go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. It's an hour-long breakthrough and battle plan session. All right. We're going to get tactical up in there. All right. We have some people in the chat here. CJ says, only weak men seek sexual relations. Was your dad a weak man? Because he fucked your mom, CJ. Oh, man. Erkin sends 10 segs, and I will give him the shaking booty video because it's a $10 super chat.
Super chat, we'll see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. No support, it's so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
Bless her heart. Erkin says, for the grumpy coach Paul. we are used to grumpy Gen Xers from Aaron Clary. Don't worry. Yes. Oh man, no, that's why everyone loves Clary though, because of his boomer rants. CW dropped that too sweet, brother. All right. How to run the playbook like a pro. Have a go-to venue checklist, right? It's got to have good ambiance. This is why I recommend drinks in the evening rather than coffee dates, right? Coffee dates, they can work if you have good game. I met Nurse Chick on a coffee date because she was working graveyard shifts, so we couldn't meet up for drinks in the evening because she had to go and deliver babies. She was a labor and delivery nurse at the time. So we met up for coffee, but typically a coffee shop, it puts out a friend vibe. You go and have drinks with friends for coffee, right? And a lot of guys are like, yeah, well, I want her to be my best friend. Look, if you treat a girl like she's your best friend, you're going to end up in the friend zone. All right. That's how it is. You want to treat her like a lover. So you got to do what lovers do. And you want to take them to a place where lovers would go. And that would be drinks in the evening at a nice, quiet place where you can have a conversation. Right? It's got to have good seating. One thing, I don't like sitting on bar stools. It's hard to have alpha body language when you're sitting on a bar stool, right? What do I mean by alpha body language, right? Wide open, relaxed, lean back in your seat body language, right? That's what I mean. Like you want to be able to spread your legs wide and take up a lot of room. Okay. Like you want to be leaned back and not lean forward. But typically when you're sitting on a bar stool that doesn't have any backing, you tend to hunch forward a little bit, it's just, and then your legs are, stuck together on a bar stool. It's just not very alpha. It's not very dominant. Right. But if you can sit at a table where there's chairs, you can lean back a little bit. You can man spread a little bit, and have more relaxed body language. The noise level, it can't be too loud. You've got to be able to be at a place where there's conversations. That's why like taking a chick to the movies is a terrible first or second date. Taking a chick to the movies is good if you're already in a relationship with her because you don't have to talk, right? But if you're trying to get to know a girl, going to a place where you can't talk is a fucking terrible idea. Okay. So you want to go to a place where there's drinks in the evening for the ambiance. You want to have good seating and you want to have the noise levels got to be down low, right? Don't take her to a club, right? Take her to a place where maybe there is some music, but it's not so loud that you can't have a conversation. Okay. And they got to have good drinks on the menu, right? So I used to, my go-to in Grand Junction, if you guys have been watching the podcast for a long time, it's the feisty pint, right? And then it was the horsefly in Montrose, and then if the off occasion it was a girl in from the Delta area that I was seeing, I would meet them up at CB's, right? Those were like my go-to places. There was one time where I met a chick, and she lived here up here in Cedar Edge. So I took her to the Pondy, which is this shitty dive bar in Cedar Edge, Colorado. It's just like it sounds like, right? It used to be called the Ponderosa, from the TV show Bonanza. So now it's called the Pondy. It's this, all the interior of the place is like a log cabin, and it's just a shitty dive cowboy bar. But it was the only bar in town at the time, and this chick was in Cedar Edge. So I said, all right, well, meet me at the Pondy Thursday night, 7 p.m. or whatever. If you guys go back to the archives and listen to a Tale of Two Train Wrecks episode, it was the blackout drunk chick that I met there at the Pondy. Anyway, you got to let her do 80% of the talking. Okay. You want her to do most of the talking. This is something I learned from Corey Wayne, but he learned that from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's a phenomenal book, came out in the 1930s. It still applies today. Okay. Sprinkling in her name in the conversation is a handy trick with that too, because everyone's favorite word in their language is their own name. So when you're talking with people, occasionally sprinkle in their name. It builds rapport. Okay. And that's a lot of what you're doing on a first date is you're building rapport. So let her do most of the talking, sprinkle in her name. But that 80% of the talking, what it does is, one, women love to talk about themselves. They are their favorite subject. So just let them run their mouths. Okay. But the less you say, the more mystery you keep, because she's got to pull this information out of you, right? The quickest way to make a woman lose interest in you fast is give everything away. Just tell her everything about yourself, your whole backstory, everything like that. She's going to get bored really quick. But if she has to dig it out of you, if she has to be an internet stalker and turn into an FBI agent and try to figure you out, what is she doing? She's thinking about you. The more she spends that time and energy of thinking about you and trying to figure you out, the more invested she gets. Okay. There's scientific studies that show that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And the reason why is because when they're trying to figure you out and trying to figure out what makes you tick and all this kind of stuff, they are investing in that creates attraction. Okay. So in order to let her do 80% of the talking, you want to have a couple of go-to open-ended questions to get the ball rolling, right? Then all you have to do is keep that conversation going by paying attention, take a genuine interest in what she's saying. Most people aren't when they're having a conversation, they're not paying attention to what the other person's saying. They're just thinking about what they should say next. Stop doing that. Just take a genuine interest in what she's saying and ask clarifying questions, right? So when I say open-ended question, what's an open-ended question? Well, it's a question where it's not a yes or no answer. Okay. Now, if you ask her, do you like that drink that she's drinking? It's either yes or no. She's like, yeah, it's a good drink, right? Then you'll get yes or no type answers. But an open-ended question is when she has to explain it, right? So you ask her, hey, when you were a kid, what was your favorite game to play when you were all by yourself? Well, now she's got to think back to her childhood and think about something fun, right? So she's going in the past in her mind and she's thinking about something fun and playful. And as she's telling that story, she's associating these feelings of fun and playful activities with you. Right? This is like you're NLPing her. Okay. So, but you want to get her to share everything about her. And when she asks you a question, you want to keep it short, vague, playful, sometimes just make shit up and have fun with it and flip it back on her. Right. So, one thing, if you guys have been watching the podcast for a long time, we talk about is Batman Game. Batman Game was a guy named, brother Jacob from the original 3% Man group. He taught this to one of the admins. They were best friends. Brother Nathan was one of the admins, and Brother Nathan taught the group Batman game. And so we all started using Batman game. It was a fun way to maintain mystery on dates, right? So women asked you, hey, what do you do for work? Right? You say, oh, well, I'm a millionaire playboy by day, but I fight crime dressed like a bat at night. What do you do? Like, tell me more about what you do, right? And then you flip it back around. And she's like, oh, I didn't know I was on a date with Batman. And be like, well, don't tell anybody, okay? That's our little secret, right? I can trust you, right? Okay. I can't let Joker know my secret identity, right? And then just play it off, right? And then she's like, no, seriously, what do you do? And be like, what I do is boring. Tell me more about you, right? You want to make her dig the shit out of you. I was like this with Nurse Chick when we first met. And then she tried to friend me on Facebook, and I declined it. I go, let's work up to that. Let's work up to that, right? Because what can women do when they friend you on Facebook? They can go through all your backstory, they see all the old pictures, see all your old posts, figure you out. Well, I did have my website up there. ComeOnManPod.com, I think, was up there, and it might have been my old blog, BauerPower.net, which is still out there. But she tugged on that string and went down a rabbit hole and ended up finding my TikToks, and then started watching my TikToks, right? But all that effort of trying to figure me out and what I'm all about had her building that interest level and had her putting that investment in, right? All right. Let's see here. So yeah, ask open-ended questions, and all you have to do is pick out pieces from the conversation to keep it going. Okay. Like, so she says, oh, I used to play ninjas in the forest with my brothers and stuff like that. Like, ninjas, was that your idea or their idea? And then, it was their idea. I'm like, oh yeah, were you guys all big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans, right? So you just keep that conversation going by asking more questions, and turning things around, right? Let's say she was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, right? Well, okay. Oh, well, who's your favorite turtle, and why do you like that one? Why do you like Donatello the best? Whatever. All right. Let's see. Remember, less is more. You want to maintain mystery and not give too much away. And then Kino Escalation is really important on dates. I talk about that and forget that bitch. That's where the second venue is going to really come in handy. Okay, because at the first venue, if you're sitting at a table where she's like, you're sitting at a square table and you're on one side and she's like right next to you, you might be able to start doing a little bit of that Kino Escalation. I've had girls on dates where they they reach out and grab my hands or whatever, or like you wear something interesting like a bracelet. It gives them an excuse to touch you. Or if you got a necklace on, what they'll do is they'll go, oh, that's a cool necklace. Let me see it. And they'll come in close and they'll want to touch it. That's them basically creating an excuse to touch you, right? Well, all that is a good sign for one, but two, it's Kino Escalation, right? Now that she's touching you, you have permission to touch her, right? So you can touch her in different ways, but the second venue is magical for that. If you go and do pool and do distraction pool, well, now you can walk up and touch her ear or blow in her ear or whatever, poke her in the hip or something, like, boop, while she's trying to shoot and stuff. That touch barrier is Kino Escalation. Kino is short for kinesthetic, which just means touch. You're breaking that touch barrier, and you want to go in for a little bit and pull back for a little bit, right? Go in for a little bit, pull back for a little bit, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that creates that sexual tension. That's a really good thing to do on a date. If it's going well and she's being flirty and you go in for a kiss and she's receptive to it, challenge her to a game of Jenga back at your house. You have a bottle of wine there handy, right? That's a good go-to. You always have to have plausible deniability getting her back to your house, right? Because here's the thing about women, right? Their anti-slut defense is always on high alert. They don't want to be judged. They don't want you blabbing about your sexual conquest with the neighborhood. And as soon as she feels like you're not going to be doing that stuff, sex is most likely going to happen. Okay. But she needs an excuse. Like, well, he invited me back to his place for a game of Jenga. One thing led to another. I don't know what happened. Right. That's how women operate, because they don't want to seem like they're giving it away too easily, but they still want it. Right. So you need to, hey, you want to go back to my place and meet my goldfish, whatever excuse it is to get her back to your place. She'll go, yeah, we're just going back to his place to meet your goldfish. Like, no, we're not. And you know that, but you got to let them believe it in their like women logic. Oh man, red flag awareness. You got to know when to end dates early with class, right? And so let me ask you guys, have any of you guys made your contenders list? If you guys have not made your contenders list, I talk about it and forget that bitch, but I'm always referring to the contenders list from Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, because if you guys are only listen to audiobooks, you don't get all the cool pictures, but I actually have drawn out what I'm talking about with the contenders list. This is the contenders list. All right. This is what's going to give you your personal red flags, right? Now you can go to Rich Cooper's channel and download his free 20 red flags to look out for with women. Those are his red flags, right? And some of them are, no tattoos. Maybe that is a red flag for you, okay? But look, red flags fuck better, okay? Nurse chick got me a new shirt. No, but listen, a lot of red flags are subjective, right? A lot of red flags are subjective at the end of the day. They're based on what you won't tolerate. So how do you know everything to look out for of what you won't tolerate if you've never actually sat down and like put it out on a list, right? You're just sort of guessing. And then like, as things come up, you're sort of like, most of the time, what most guys do is they'll go, I'll overlook that. Things will get better. I could fix her. Okay. But if you sit down and you create your do not wants list and you highlight absolute deal breakers, when you're on a date and a woman brings up a story and it ties in with one of your deal breakers, you dump her right there. You don't waste your time with all these women and get into relationships that you should never be in. Okay. So you got to have a contenders list, and you got to review that contenders list regularly, so it's always on the forefront of your mind, right? You want to focus on all the things that you want, not necessarily on what you don't want. But if you don't at least glance at that list of things that you will not tolerate on occasion, you're gonna start thinking with your dick, and you're not going to cut these chicks loose that you need to be cutting loose. Okay, so always have that awareness of the things that you won't tolerate, so you can end dates early with class. Just be like, all right, well, I got an early evening, pay for the drinks, best of luck, you're dating, and fucking bounce. Right. All right, guys, that's all I got for this podcast episode. I hope you guys liked it. Guys, smash that like button if you haven't yet. All right. Tune into the podcast on Friday. I'm going to be talking about why you won't be able to fix your relationship if you're holding on to resentment. There's a brother in Wolfpack who he's getting better. He's been getting better over the last couple of weeks. But for a while there, every little thing his wife did was pissing him off. And because of that, he wasn't able to focus on the strategies we were telling him to do in the Wolfpack. Because every little thing we told him to do, he was like, well, why do I even have to do that at all? Fuck this. She should be doing blah, 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 right? And it's like, let that go. You got to let that go. You'll never fix your relationship if that's your mentality. If you're just always like, fuck that, fuck her, whatever she's doing, fuck this. I shouldn't have to do whatever, fuck you, right? If you have that mentality, you're never going to fix anything. So we're going to talk about that on Friday because it's Frame Friday. He's once we were able to get him to reframe from a different perspective, things started changing. He started making progress. It's great. It's so rewarding to see when the light bulb goes off in some of these guys. Okay. But tune in on Friday. We'll be talking about that. You have to let that kind of stuff go and focus on the strategy. All right. that's all I got. I got to get these clips out before heading down to knee surgery. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit those notifications if you guys haven't done it already. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with or without surgery going on. Thanks for everyone that started off in the live chat. I appreciate you. Urkin, thank you for that super chat, brother. I appreciate it. That helps support the show probably more than anything else. Guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get the free ebook. It's in the description as well. Fine. Here's how to get her back. If you need to move on from that breakup, the divorce, and you just can't stop thinking about your ex, grab that. I'll show you how to get her back, but I'll also tell you why it's a terrible idea. And then you can get my latest book, Forget That Bitch, by going to books.comeonmanpod.com. Get in the Wolfpack. Show up for our hangout tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Go to wolf.comeonmanpod.com and run with the wolves, baby. Drop that too sweet in the chat. And then if you want to work with me directly, one-on-one, book a call, go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. That's all. Yep. CW says, join us on the hangout tomorrow. Get in the pack. Drop that too sweet. Hell yeah, brother. And Urkin says, good luck with surgery. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thoughts and prayers. Guys, send thoughts and prayers. All right, guys, that's all I got. We'll see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.